Look, I'm not planning on doing this every month. I know it's been 2 months in a row now, but I need to read my library books ASAP. The truth of the matter is, I got these 2 books that I'm about to tell you about, which isn't a sentence that makes sense, from the library, and I was very, very excited to read them. But then, like, the last chunk of May was way busier with other things than I expected. And then, I'm not gonna lie, June has just been bedwetting month, which I want to get out of this habit. It is currently June 6th on a Friday, and I have to go to the library on Tuesday, June 10th. So, I do have a couple of days to do this, like a weekend, basically an extended weekend, and I need to get out of my bedwetting ways because it's gonna go bad if I stay in it, and I don't want it. I don't want to fall into a reading slump, but I'm on the edge. I can feel it. The only way to not do that is to actually read. So that's what we're doing today. Like I said, 2 books from the library. Due date is on Tuesday. It's currently Friday, so let's try and read them, you know? I've done this before, you know how this goes. But the first book I have is This Time It's Real by Liang, which I am 20 pages into, which is 1 chapter. It isn't a lot. Don't applaud me. This is a YA contemporary novel, and I have heard a lot of great things about this author. So when I saw this book in my library, I snatched it up, and I've been really excited to read it. So and even like that 1 chapter that I read, as much as it was nothing, I did really enjoy it. So I hate that I have not continued with it. And then most importantly, I watched Me by Mafi. This is the latest Shadow Me book, except it's not Shadow Me, it's a new series following new characters, but it takes place after the events of the Shadow Me series. I've been so curious about this book, and also this cover was absolutely stunning. Like, this series has, like, Shadow Me has the most stunning covers, but like this one especially. I don't know, I have been nervous to read this because, you know, the Shadow Me series, especially that latter half, has been hit or miss for me, so I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm very curious about it, and I haven't heard anything about this. I haven't seen anyone read it yet on my feed, so I am very curious to see what I'll think of it. So I also really desperately want to read this. So yeah, these just need to happen. Hopefully it will over this weekend. We do have a family thing on Sunday, so that will knock out most of that day. So I have a day less than it sounds like, but still, I feel like these both should be relatively quick reads. So I should be able to accomplish this if I stop bedwetting. So you're here to hold me accountable. And it's currently just past 3 p.m. I know I've been bedwetting. Leave me alone. I really had to snap myself out of this. And yeah, I'm gonna see how much of This Time It Gets Real I'm able to read. I had to move to the living room to ensure I wouldn't fall into my traps, but yeah, I'm very excited to read this. So, as promised, I'm 100 pages into This Time It's Real. It's also been about an hour, a little less. So, I'm 100 pages into this book. Now I can tell you what it's about properly. This book follows Eliza, and because of her mom's job, they always like travel around and aren't in the same place much. And a couple of months ago, they moved back to China, and she's at like an international school, but like she hasn't really made any friends or anything because she just feels like very out of place being the new kid. And then for an assignment, they have to write a personal essay, and that will be posted on the school's blog. Just odd, but oh well. But because she's like new and doesn't really know many people, she kind of feels weird putting out like her personal stuff on the school's blog for everyone to read. So she makes up this story about her and a boyfriend, which she doesn't have, and then the morning after it gets published, it goes crazy viral. Like, she wakes up and her phone has blown up with notifications, and all of a sudden everybody is interested in who her mystery boyfriend is. And she at first is kind of like I don't know what to do, and especially when she ends up receiving an email from a like publishing company, I don't know, from like a blog as well, I guess, I don't know. No, because they have a magazine, I don't know. But from this place that she has dreamed about working for, and they email her because they want her to intern with them. Is that how you say it? You have an internship with them, and like they offer her an internship, and she's like, oh my god, but like if they figure out all this is fake, I'm fucked. And that's when she comes up with the idea to get the help from this guy named Cass, who is a actor, in her class because he needs help with his essay for university. And so she comes up with the idea, if you are my fake boyfriend, I will help you with like your essays for university. And yeah, they decide to fake date. That's it. Like I literally stopped at the part where they like have officially put down all the rules and decided that they are gonna fake date. So we're gonna get into things further in this book, and honestly I think this is cute so far. I feel like, of course, we haven't really seen much of our couple together because like I said, they just agreed to fake date, but I just think it's a very fun setup, and then I like our main character. I think she's really fun to follow. So yeah, and then like the little scenes we have causing between them, I'm curious to see where things go. So I'm sure that this will be a really fun, nice read. So I am very excited to continue on with it. So that's what I'll be doing. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. After I updated you yesterday, did not read anything else. In fact, did nothing else. I continued to bed one, but then on the couch. So the couch one is bad. But my brain just really wasn't functioning yesterday. I don't know what I was trying to do. And then now it is already 1 p.m. and I still haven't read anything. I do have to say, I feel more cohesive than I did yesterday. So I'm hoping that I can rectify things. I've just had a really lazy morning. My sleep schedule has been very fucked and I'm starting to feel that. So that's also playing into things, but you don't care about that. All you care about is me reading these books, and I promise you I'm gonna do that. If I don't come back to you with a great update later today, I don't know, kick my ass. I don't know. Hi, I haven't talked to you in a little bit, but I have good news because it is almost dinner time and I'm starving. So after I film this, I'm gonna eat. I'm so hungry, but I did do a lot of reading and I have two updates for you. One is that I finished This Time It's Real and Liang, and I've given this 3 stars. I felt fine about it. I did like it. I had an enjoyable time reading it. Once I logged in, I actually read this relatively quickly as well. I think it's a fine YA contemporary, but you know, if you've been around here, you know it takes a lot of YA contemporary nowadays to impress me, which I hate. Because this used to be my favorite genre, you know? And I know I've grown up, but like I've read just so many that it takes a lot. But overall, I thought this was fine. This was a great read. The only thing that I personally thought is that the romance came a little bit out of nowhere, like them having feelings for each other. I feel like just was there all of a sudden. There was no real development for it. Although they were cute together, I do have to say that. And I liked their dynamic, but I just, those feelings came out of nowhere, and then the third act conflict just also felt really stupid to me. So also I wasn't a big fan of that. But for the rest, I did like it. Like I said, it was fun, it was quick. I think its discussions around the main character have been moved around a lot throughout her life, and therefore having a hard time feeling like she belongs anywhere and like feels home anywhere is really interesting and was really well done. I also really liked the different discussions around our our love interest, about him like being an actor and some fame stuff that were just very small topics in this book, but I like the inclusion of it. So yeah, I would recommend it. I will definitely be reading more by this author. This was just a fine read, 3 stars like I said. And then I did start Watch Me by Tahereh Mafi. I'm 100 pages into this and I'm obsessed. I mean, not 5-star obsessed, but obsessed as in I want to keep reading this so badly, which I was not expecting. If you don't know, Shatter Me is originally was a YA dystopian trilogy that turned into a 6-book series, and it follows Juliet, who, if she touches someone, she kills them, and therefore she has been imprisoned by like the government. And I don't remember exactly how it happens, but there was a point, I think, where there's like someone that she can touch without killing, and then they try and get to use her powers for the government, but then, you know, it's a YA dystopian, so it turns into a whole rebellion plot. My memories of it are very vague, especially that original trilogy. I read that ages ago, so I was a bit nervous going into this because this takes place, I believe, 10 years after Ignite Me, so when the original government fell. And I can't even tell you which characters this follows because of spoilers, and it's so interesting so far. Like I said, I am only 100 pages in, so it still has room to disappoint me, but I really don't think it will because I'm just having such a good time reading this. I think the setup we have for like the state of the world that we're in, what exactly we're following, is very interesting. And I also really like our 2 main characters. There's a guy and a girl. Like I said, I can't tell you who they are without spoiling everything, but the guy I love. I just think he's like a mix between Kenji, Warner, and Adam, which should give you a clue as to who that character is. But like he's a perfect mix of those three characters, and it's such a delight to follow him. I'm having such a blast with that. And then our female main character is so interesting. It's so interesting as a character to follow, or like motivations and how she fits into this part of this world is so interesting, and I'm very excited to learn more about her. And like I said, the place of the world that we're in, like the plot we're setting up, is so interesting. I'm so intrigued to keep reading with it. This started off immediately with action, which I thought might be a little bit confusing to get into, but that was not the case. I immediately fell back into this world, and starting with an action scene just kind of like got me hyped for it. So yes, I'm very excited to continue on with this after dinner though, because I am hungry, like I said. Hi, so it is the next day. It's Sunday, aka the day I don't have time for reading. But we're making it happen. I didn't read any last night. My mom got home later from work than normal, and I always after dinner spend some time with her, and therefore because she was home later, that lasted longer. Like I got back to bed later as well. You know how time works. And then I was just tired and I didn't really feel like reading, so I didn't. But I have been reading all morning, and I read another 100 pages of Watch Me. I'm on page 200 now. Only have 150 left. I'm having such a blast with this still. Like, oh my god, I did not expect to enjoy this book as much as I am, as I already told you about, because the last few Shadowy books have been like a very hit or miss for me. Like I haven't been the biggest fan of like that last bit there, so I was a bit nervous about this, but it's so much fun. I'm having such a blast. We are getting more into the plot now, and it's so interesting. It's so good. I do have to say that obviously I can't say much without spoiling anything, but we are now at a part of a point in the book where the female main character is kind of annoying me a little bit, but like her reasonings and like thoughts and stuff, it all makes sense with the way she was raised and everything, but I'm just like, girl, get a grip. So like, not get a grip, that's the one word for it, but obviously we know more about this situation than her, and she has had a specific upbringing that also like taints her thoughts on things, and I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop pretending like you're smarter than what's going on right now, because you don't. And that, like I said, that is a bit of an annoyance, but that's also understandable because I get where she's coming from, and she's coming from a different place than I am because I know more. But it is so much fun. There was just like a scene with a bunch of the Shadowy cast, and I laughed my ass off. They're so funny. And oh, I don't know. This is just such a delight, and I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, I'm very excited to read the last 150 pages in this book and kind of see where it's gonna go. I do feel like this is a bit of a setup book for the series though, because I feel like even though we definitely have gotten a bit more in the plot in these past 100 pages, I do feel like, considering we're over halfway through, it doesn't feel like we're halfway through a story, so I feel like there's gonna be like a setup for like a bigger picture thing. But I don't necessarily mind that as long as I'm having fun, and I'm having fun with this a lot. Okay, so it is Monday evening. I have to say yesterday did not go as planned. So my mom came home earlier from work than she was supposed to. So actually after I did you, I almost got no reading done because, you know, she got home and we talked, and then we left for the family thing, and honestly we ended up staying until like super late. Like we got home like just before midnight, so I also slept in pretty late today, so that knocked off my whole schedule today, so that's also something. But I did finish Watch Me by Tahereh Mafi. I'm giving this 4 stars, which is higher than I expected going into it. But I, as you know, had a blast reading this. I do have to say that this still does the main thing that I disliked the like second trilogy for, is that this does not feel like a complete story. Like, you know, obviously a series, you know, there's gonna be some left open ended things left over because, you know, you need to continue the story, but like this doesn't feel like a book with a conclusion. This generally just feels like Tahereh Mafi like wrote the entire story, and the publisher just went in at random points and cut it up to make it a series. And I felt the same way with that with the second trilogy. I still feel like we didn't get a proper ending to that, even with the Believe Me kind of like novella that came afterwards, because it just feels like Tahereh Mafi nowadays just refuses to enter books, at least when it comes to Shadowy. So that is a bit annoying, but this is honestly not the worst case that I have seen her do it, so I can't fully complain, because I do think where we leave things off, it doesn't feel like a proper ending to the story, but it is like a good cliffhanger to make you want to continue on with it. And considering this whole book kind of felt like a setup for this series, you know, it's more kind of like a set into action rather than like a disappointing ending, if that makes sense. But I also have to say that when it comes to the romance, it felt very superficial. I don't even want to call it insta love, but just superficial. Like everything just remains very surface level between our two leads when it comes to their romance, and yet there was supposed to be like these emotionally like difficult moments where like, oh, what I feel about them and what's really like, and my morals are like opposing each other, you know what I mean? Those are supposed to feel much more hard-hitting, I think, with the way they're written than they ended up feeling, because the way the romance was written just felt very superficial and surface level. But yeah, for the rest, I had a blast with this. I thought the themes of this book are very interesting. The storyline was very engaging and very captivating. I genuinely flew through reading this, and I really like both of our leads. I think they bring an interesting perspective to the story that I'm very excited to delve into more so with the rest of the series. So I'm very excited because this was just, I honestly thought I of course was going to try this, hence why it's in this video, but I didn't really think that I was gonna like this enough to continue. But I'm actually very excited to see what Tahereh Mafi takes the world of Shadow Me next. So there we go. And yeah, that concludes the 2 books that I needed to read before they're due tomorrow. So look at me go. It's a 3 and a 4, which I honestly think is great. 2 books that I've been excited to read. I'm glad I got around to them. I feel like it also kind of like got me going to read more, because like I said, I have been approaching a slump before this, and I feel like this definitely kickstarted me into wanting to read more, because I did really enjoy both of these books. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought of these books. If you've read them, I'd love to discuss with you. And then hopefully I'll see you around next time. Bye.